Welcome to the UpKeep Pledge Pros Podcast, a podcast dedicated to unmatched value and unwavering support for our customers and the community at large. Today, we have another UpKeep customer returning to the Pledge Pros Podcast. We have Miguel Valencia, the Vice President of Operations and Sustainability for Goodwill. Miguel, welcome.
Hey, good morning. Thank you, Brian.
Awesome. We're so glad to have you. You are the second customer
Yeah,
to be on the Pledge Pros podcast. And
awesome.
it's extremely valuable for us, for the community, for people to see where UpKeep has helped customers, where we've created partnerships, where we've done all the right things together to help drive meaningful change and meaningful impact for your business, right? So before we get into our talk of how UpKeep and Goodwill have partnered, can you tell us a little bit more about you, Miguel, and then ultimately Goodwill and what they're doing?
Sure. Yeah. Good morning, Miguel Valencia. Been with Goodwill for 13 plus years.
Nice.
I can still remember my first day. Just fell in love with the mission. I've got a strong retail background, but something about Goodwill, the mission just captured your heart. I still remember the first day. I was told when you work for Goodwill, you're going to get two paychecks. You're going to get the paycheck that you earn for your living, and the paycheck that just kind of warms your heart based on the mission and the good we do for the community.
No doubt.
Yeah, so it's been a pleasure to work here. Every day is exciting and fun, and it's a challenge, and just keeps us on our toes.
Right. Yeah. So, I mean, Goodwill is a household name. I mean, you're hard pressed to find somebody who doesn't know who Goodwill is and what they do.
Sure. Yeah.
One thing I learned from you is that the Goodwills are kind of they're all managed independently. I didn't know that, which is kind of neat, because you can really have a hold over your destiny as to how you want to, build the business, the changes and the things you want to do at your level and at the business's level, independent of like a bigger thing,
Right.
which is really cool. So Miguel, we're on here to talk CMMS. We're on here to talk the partnerships that we've created together of UpKeep and Goodwill. And, about your current role as VP of Operations and Sustainability, what was it that kind of led you to delve into the world of CMMS, if you will?
Yeah. We've grown so much over the last few years. Our employee count has gone up. The impact on the community has always been our first most goal. But the growth has it took us to another level where grew from like 3 stores to 10 stores.
Wow.
Right now we have 23 locations, and it became so hard to manage all the daily requests, the squeaky doors, and
Oh yeah.
the tile that's breaking. So we needed something that was a little bit more robust, something that can help us keep in line and be more efficient. And this was just a no-brainer for us. This was one of the easiest decisions we've ever made.
Sure. I can't imagine. I mean, I personally, there's a Goodwill right down the road from us. And, we talked a little while ago, you and I have young kids, they're growing, the clothes are, they're, nothing fits them. We're always donating. And when I pull up to the donation centers, like I can imagine how hard it is to say, oh my God, my forklift doesn't work. My pallet jack doesn't
Yeah.
work. Meanwhile, you have a line of cars
Yeah.
or trucks or whatever that are coming to donate to these places. And to keep and manage all those things had to have been, well, I don't want to say a nightmare, but a nightmare.
Yeah, no, it has been. I still remember the days where we would get to work early, print some email, and that's how we communicated requests. It was either text, email, or a phone call. You got the phone call when it was like really bad and no one can use the restroom. We got those phone calls, or we'd get a phone call at night. So just this has just been a godsend to us, the way we communicate, and we're able to streamline our communication to our techs. It's been really good.
Yeah, that's awesome. That is the number one goal for us, right? The goal is to put the power of maintenance
Yeah,
and reliability in the hand of a technician, right? And then
right.
ensure that communication and the organization as a whole can be viewing and understanding the same things. But my first question for you, Miguel,
Sure.
is, did you have any prior experience with CMMS or any kind of facilities, software, or anything like that?
No, when it first came up, you know, you guys were, Upkeep was recommended. There's just been a lot of buzz and good remarks. And when we started looking, it just seemed like Upkeep was the brand for us. User friendly, uh, work orders at your fingertips. All that just made sense for us. And just going from like having nothing to this was just night and day.
Yeah.
It was great.
That's awesome. Yeah, it's funny, Goodwill and Upkeep, it seem have very similar values in the respect of, putting people first, having grit, over prestige, all of the things that help really drive the human aspect of a business. And we're glad to partner with people like that and companies like that. It's super valuable for us. I mean, it's part of the reason I work for Upkeep is I wanted to work for a company, talking about your second paycheck, right? I wanted
Yeah.
to work for a company that aligned with my values and that I could see the inputs that I provide to the business and the outcomes to the community, to the customers and all these things, very similar to the things that you get to see on a day-to-day basis. Um, it's just very, very cool. And, did you have, or did you, so you said Upkeep was recommended and you guys just went full force.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah.
So there weren't any other guys that you were contending with that you were trying to make a decision on. It was just Upkeep.
Well, we get a lot of vendors that will just they're always interested in working with us.
Sure.
And like you said, we're a community based. We like to work with partners that we know are positive in the community and are going to line up with our goals. And
Sure.
it's just an easy decision from a user friendly platform and just the recommendations that we received and just we did our due diligence and made sure that this was what we wanted to do.
Right. That's great. And you kind of answered one of my next questions to a point is, what were some of the deciding factors that led you to choose Upkeep? I know it was recommended. I know you did some form of vetting process, but what are some, like, let's say, I don't want to get like too features deep, but like, what were some of the more things that uh, were very enticing about the platform?
Yeah, well, we always love free trials. I mean,
Yeah. Right.
I mean that
Perfect.
that's the key to us. We take advantage of the free trials. I mean, we did what we needed to do. We put it in the hands of our staff. We put it in the hands of our employees, and it was just very simple to them to use. The interface was just very user friendly. We our population and our staff, it's the community, and they come with a lot of different skill sets. Some of them have challenges with tech. Some of them have different barriers and learning challenges. But this was just very user friendly, and when we can hand that to any of our employees and they can toggle through it and communicate, like that was just the selling point for us.
Yeah, that's a good point. When you're working with various levels of skill sets, various level age levels, all the things
Yeah,
that encompass a diverse workforce.
sure.
Having that intuitive design, intuitive layout really helps bridge all those gaps. I mean, not to mention it really lowers the not lowers, but makes the training process that much easier too,
Yeah,
because now you're standardizing the way in which you train on one thing that's very simple. And then
absolutely.
another thing that's happening too is, we find with a lot of businesses like Goodwill, very similar, where you have a very diverse workforce at varying multiple levels of skill set. You start to build trust within the business because you're giving them a tool to raise concerns, right? And then those things are actually followed upon and acted upon. So you start to build a camaraderie between management and the employees, and then your customers start to see that your facilities are much better managed. They have, working
Yes.
facilities, all these things. So it's such a massive compounding thing. And it's great. We hear those things a lot that those are the intuitiveness and the user friendliness and the standardizing the language in which the business speaks to a point. Um, is very valuable. So when when you were going through the process of understanding what kind of work management CMMS you wanted, what were some of the biggest, you touched on it just a second with like broken bathrooms and things, but like what were really the challenges of the business? Like what were like the main things? Was it really just like the sheer volume of things that needed to be done, or what was that?
Well, I think we deal with two types of orders. We deal with like emergencies, restrooms, lighting, doors that don't lock, and communicating that I think was important, and not only the initial communication, but just having notes on it, having follow up. Being able to toggle and look at the cookie crumbs that were left from technicians visiting,
Yeah,
and um, was it broke, was it fixed on time, so that really helped us a lot. And then we were able to really look into more cosmetic. Hey, these paints, they haven't been painted since we moved in.
right.
So kind of tackling it from both sides and dealing with the emergencies and the assets and the things that our employees and our customers need every day. And then looking at our facilities and how do we, stay competitive? How do we make sure that our brand is represented properly at our facilities?
Sure. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. And you being the vice president of operations and sustainability, I'm sure that some of the data that you're able to derive allows you to make more informed decisions on where you want to take your facilities from a scaling standpoint, from a maybe a resource standpoint. Maybe there's some things that are cause more water usage or electricity usage, and like for instance, your door example, like the doors insulation's jacked up, well, then you're probably heating the building too much or cooling the
Right.
building too much,
Right.
right? That's awesome, man. That's good to hear. So, I like to be full transparent.
Yeah.
What kind of challenges do you still have, and where would you like to see, possibly the utilization of upkeep improve?
I would say that a lot of the challenges are more internal. We, staffing for maintenance technicians, it's tough.
Sure,
We're a nonprofit, so a lot of our salaries aren't as competitive with maybe some of the larger corporations and businesses that are out there. So staffing is still a challenge for us. So most of the opportunities are going to lie within our organization.
right.
I think there's a lot of statistics, analytics. The platform's super robust, but for us, it's like a race car that's in the garage. We're not hitting it into fifth gear yet. We're
Sure.
still driving like it's an electric car. So I think that's an opportunity for us internally.
Sure. Well, it's not a uncommon thing. Every year Upkeep does the state of the maintenance, which is where we talk to hundreds of maintenance and reliability and operations leaders like yourself, and we kind of try to get to the bottom of the issues plaguing our industry. And 9 times out of 10, it's labor.
Mhm.
It's being able to find, train, and retain the appropriate staff, to do the work. And it's no secret that the higher the turnover, or the harder it is to get people in the door, the less likely CMMS is a priority, because you have a hard time.
Right.
You get somebody, they're doing a great job, and then they leave, and now that knowledge is gone, right?
Right.
Um, but one thing which is still strong, for CMMS utilization, is that the data is still there, right?
Yeah.
So the history is still there. You're still able to make informed decisions based on the inputs of your technicians. And I also want to say two things. One, with what you said, you're not alone. It's like the most common thing in industry. And two, if there's anything that we as Upkeep can do to help you with that, please, please, please ask your customer success manager, and we'll be glad to take a look as anything that we can expand upon for you. Um, so another question for you
Mhm.
is, if you had to give advice to somebody who is maybe going from pen and paper like you were to a CMMS, or maybe they're thinking about switching from one CMMS to another, what advice would you give to somebody?
Um, I would say listen to people, listen to community, listen to who's using the platform. Uh, your team's been great. We jump on calls. They're always checking to see, where are we at? What kind of training or information. We've connected recently with other Goodwills across the country that are also using Upkeep and
Cool.
sharing best practices. So I would say, listen to your peers, listen to people in the community, so that you get the real information. Um, Everyone can put the nice reviews up there and delete the negative ones. But
Yep.
once you start talking to people, you get it raw. Yeah, and
That's right.
that's the advice I would give to someone.
That's great advice. I mean, the fact that you even say talk to people and talk to the people, maybe even using it, right? I mean, that's huge. We have to take into account the frontline workforce that touches it. I had a conversation with a friend a couple weeks ago, and it's like, it's okay if I know the platform super great, but if my technician doesn't, or he's seeing shortcomings of a platform that I don't see because I'm not in it day to day, well, those things need to be known, and that allows you and others when you're vetting out systems to make really good decisions. Because at the end of the day, if you're going mobile platform, the user, your intended user, which is generally a technician, has to sign off on it, or at least say, hey, this is something that is manageable. It makes sense. And then, us or you as the bigger business say, yeah, this does align with our work processes. It aligns with us to maybe scale and grow. So yeah, that's great. A lot of people leave the human factor out of it, and they just go like, oh, it connects to our ERP, so it's what everybody's going to
Yeah.
use.
No, that's a great point. Just to kind of take a step back, and you talked a little bit about age, and when you work with a population and when you work with different age groups, there's a different tech that's involved. Our
Sure.
kids, my kids in third, fourth grade. I mean, the knowledge that they're being taught. I mean, they're doing websites, they're doing so
Yeah.
many things. They're PowerPoint presentations in
Crazy.
third or fourth grade. And those aren't the skill sets that we received when we went to school.
Right.
So yeah, you're absolutely right. You've got to make it so user friendly that any age group, any skill set level can learn
Right.
and just get it, and make it happen. Yeah.
It's funny, my, my daughter, she'll come home and she just starts talking. She's like, "Oh, we in media class, we have do
Yes.
this." I'm like, "Media class? Like,
Yeah.
what is that?"
Yeah. Oh
It's
yeah.
wild,
It's
wild.
yeah. It's fun. Yeah. I mean, kids know so much now. They're growing up with technology in their hands.
Yeah.
So,
It's like you can't get away from it, And,
yep.
ultimately at the end of the day, to optimize not every business, right? But growing, scaling some form of intricate business and work processes, you have to put that technology in the person's hand, like
Yeah.
you have to enable the efficiency and the optimization where the work is being done.
Yep.
And the work is not being done for these people sitting like you and me right now talking.
Yeah.
It's being done out there doing the work. But it's just amazing, and it's so good that you know there's so much alignment in the thought process and the values between your application, Goodwill, and what you're doing locally, and Upkeep, and how we're trying to facilitate those things on a large scale for multiple companies, multiple businesses. And I know, you and I have talked, and about further partnership in Goodwill and Upkeep, which is fantastic. Um, you know, I just want to thank you, Miguel, so much for coming on and having a quick combo with me. I know you're a busy guy. Goodwill's turning and burning all the time.
Yeah.
So I'm so glad we could connect so soon. And I just want to give you the last word, Miguel. Like, what would be your closing statement here?
Well, I would say that, just like we talked about, serving community is important for us. Partnering with folks that have barriers to work, youth programs. Our mission is community based, and being in a nonprofit, being in my role, my job is to save money. My job is to find ways to improve our bottom line, and having a platform that is efficient, helps us be efficient, helps us do our job better, faster, and in the long run, we're able to save money, and that's been huge to us. So thank you for being a good partner and providing us with these tools that we need to do what we need to do to support our mission.
No doubt. We greatly appreciate you and Goodwill, and UpKeep is ecstatic to be in a relationship with such a well-known and community-based organization as UpKeep is and is continuing to try to be. So thank you on behalf of UpKeep and the Pledge Pros podcast. We're so glad to have you, Miguel, and we will see you on the next one.
All right. Thanks, Brian.
See you, man.